In 2025, something extraordinary is unfolding behind the closed doors of Koenigsegg. And this time, it's not just another upgrade. Whatever they're building, it's unlike anything the automotive world has seen before. No one else can do what we're doing, hinted the company, making it clear that if you want this kind of innovation, you won't find it anywhere else. Phrases like new engine, wipe the floor, and electric cars have begun circling, fueled by a cryptic statement from CEO Christian von Koenigsegg himself: "We never stop developing it because it gives enormous freedom to the combustion engine." There's been no flashy launch or teaser campaign, just a quiet decision that could radically shift our understanding of performance's future. If you thought the EV race was already over, think again. Koenigsegg might be on the verge of doing the unthinkable, and the world isn't ready for what's coming next. From the beginning, Koenigsegg has treated speed as an art form and power as a personal obsession. While the rest of the automotive world chased lap times with bloated engineering teams and heritage badges, Christian von Koenigsegg was quietly building road-going rockets in a small factory in Ängelholm, Sweden. No big marketing budgets. No legacy to lean on. Just one relentless mission: to build the fastest, most innovative machines on the planet and prove that a single company could out-engineer the giants. The first warning shot came with the CC8S. Then came the CCR, which briefly claimed the title of world's fastest production car. But it was the Agera RS that truly made the world stop and take notice. In 2017, it shattered the production car speed record, hitting 277.9 miles per hour without breaking a sweat. It didn't just defeat the competition, it humiliated them. While others were refining traction control systems, Koenigsegg was busy rewriting the laws of physics. But Koenigsegg's obsession with speed has never been about straight-line numbers alone. Every detail, from the monocoque chassis to the innovative triplex suspension, is a reflection of a single philosophy: everything must serve performance, and anything that doesn't is discarded. No fluff. No gimmicks. Just pure engineering. That's what sets Koenigsegg apart. It's not just about raw horsepower, it's about control, balance, and radical ingenuity. Then came the Regera, a car that abandoned the traditional gearbox altogether. Koenigsegg called it direct drive, a revolutionary setup that removed gear changes entirely, delivering seamless acceleration powered by a trio of electric motors and a twin-turbo V8. The result was a machine that could turn your insides to soup, yet somehow felt refined, even elegant, like a grand piano traveling at 250 miles per hour. Of course, none of this would be possible without the man behind it all. Christian von Koenigsegg isn't your typical CEO. He's a visionary, a mad scientist of speed, and the beating heart of one of the most ambitious car companies the world has ever seen. Christian von Koenigsegg is part inventor, part speed freak, and part philosopher. He once posed the question, why do we build fast cars? His answer was simple: because we can. But make no mistake, there's nothing reckless about his approach. Every Koenigsegg creation, no matter how extreme, is born out of purpose. Christian is obsessed with the details, thermodynamics, power-to-weight ratios, and squeezing every last bit of energy from the smallest amount of fuel. He's one of those rare minds who can sketch an engine concept on a napkin and bring it to life 6 months later. Behind every Koenigsegg model lies a grueling journey of experimentation, failure, reinvention, and ultimately, perfection. And even when they reach that elusive peak, they start over, because in Koenigsegg's world, good enough means nothing. It's this mindset that drives them to handcraft parts that most manufacturers outsource, to invent their own carbon fiber technology, and to build a custom 3D printer just to fabricate titanium exhaust tips. Every avoided shortcut is a second gained on the track. This relentless pursuit of engineering purity is what transformed Koenigsegg from a boutique carmaker into a brand that makes Ferrari and Bugatti nervous. As the rest of the auto industry rushes into an all-electric future, Koenigsegg has remained methodical. Not hesitant, just deliberate. Christian understands something many overlook: speed alone doesn't win the race. Innovation does. And sometimes, the car that changes everything isn't the one that hits 300 miles per hour, it's the one bold enough to ask, what if we did things completely differently? Koenigsegg has never stopped chasing that question. And lately, it feels like they're closing in on an answer, one that doesn't just raise the bar, but flips the entire game upside down. Which brings us to their latest shock to the system, the JRA. When Koenigsegg announced the JRA, most people thought it was a joke. A four-seater Grand Tourer from the same company that builds road-legal rockets with fighter jet doors and acceleration figures that keep NASA awake at night? It didn't make sense, until it did. Because Koenigsegg wasn't just building a family car. They were building the family car. One that could seat for adults in comfort, carry luggage, and still outrun a Bugatti Chiron. The JRA wasn't a compromise, it was a challenge. A contradiction on wheels. Luxury colliding with lunacy. Practicality fused with outrageous performance. And it all started under the hood. Instead of cramming in a massive V12 or relying on a bloated electric drivetrain, Koenigsegg introduced something entirely unexpected, the Tiny Friendly Giant, or TFG for short. A 2.0-litre, three-cylinder engine that alone would raise eyebrows. But what dropped jaws was its output, 600 horsepower, thanks to twin turbos and camless free-valve technology. No camshafts. No conventional constraints. Instead of relying on traditional belts and cams, Koenigsegg's revolutionary Tiny Friendly Giant, TFG, engine is governed entirely by software. Every valve is controlled in real time, allowing the engine to shut off cylinders on the fly or adjust its breathing based on driving demands. It wasn't just compact, it was brilliantly adaptive and terrifyingly efficient. But Koenigsegg understood that the future wasn't just about squeezing more from internal combustion. With electric power looming large, they responded not with hesitation, but with innovation. The JRA, later officially named the Gemera, was outfitted with 3 electric motors, one on each rear wheel and one directly on the crankshaft. Combined with the TFG, this setup delivered up to 1,700 horsepower. It could operate purely on electric power, solely on gasoline, or combine both for explosive hybrid acceleration. Despite being a plug-in hybrid, the Gemera didn't concern itself with range anxiety. With a full tank and charge, it could travel over 600 miles, enough to drive from Stockholm to Paris without stopping. Design-wise, the Gemera looked every bit a Koenigsegg at first glance, low, aggressive, unmistakably sleek. But then came the surprises: massive clamshell doors, no B-pillar, and an entire side that opened like a sci-fi airlock. Inside, the cabin felt more like a modern Scandinavian lounge than a hypercar, for individual bucket seats, full infotainment for front and rear passengers, and yes, actual cup holders. In a Koenigsegg. It was absurd. And yet, it all worked. Despite its size, the Gemera didn't lumber, it danced. Thanks to active rear-wheel steering, torque vectoring, and a carbon monocoque chassis, it handled like a car half its weight. While other brands were still figuring out how to make electric SUVs handle like sports cars, Koenigsegg had already built a 4-seater that could drift corners and still take grandma along for the ride. But as always, Koenigsegg wasn't finished. Even the initial Gemera spec wasn't the end of the story. Factory whispers hinted at an even more extreme version. In 2023, those rumors were confirmed. The company announced an optional upgrade to the same hot V8 used in the Jesko. That meant 2,300 horsepower. In a family car. Koenigsegg wasn't trying to catch up to the EV race, it was redefining what that race should even look like. While the industry kept waiting for Koenigsegg to go fully electric, the brand showed that there was still a smarter, more exhilarating path, one that used real engines, real mechanical drama, and just enough electricity to make it all even scarier. The Gemera proved Koenigsegg could do the unthinkable, merge everyday usability with record-breaking performance. But insiders believe the Gemera was more than just a statement piece, it was a test bed. A proving ground for something even more radical. Because behind the scenes, Koenigsegg had been developing a new kind of motor, one that didn't just push boundaries, but ignored them altogether. Enter the dark matter motor. Koenigsegg has never been shy about doing things differently, but with the dark matter motor, they didn't just think outside the box, they obliterated it. When the production version of the Gemera was revealed with a single electric motor setup, the message was loud and clear: forget everything you know about EV powertrains. This was something entirely new. On paper, the dark matter motor is a 6-phase axial flux motor, a unique blend of radial and axial flux technologies. The result? A brutally compact, hyper-efficient unit that produces 800 horsepower and 1,250 Newton-meters of torque. From one motor. No dual-motor trickery, no gimmicks, just pure, concentrated power in a form factor small enough to fit in a carry-on bag. It sounds like science fiction. But this is Koenigsegg. While most manufacturers still rely on traditional 3-phase motors, reliable but limited, Koenigsegg's 6-phase architecture spreads the workload more evenly. That means less heat, fewer moving parts, and more consistent torque across the entire rev range. Whether you're gliding through city traffic or launching down a straightaway, performance remains razor-sharp and brutally efficient. But the innovation didn't stop there. The dark matter motor works seamlessly with Koenigsegg's custom torque converter and inverter technologies, delivering real-time responsiveness with minimal energy loss. Every pulse of power is immediate. Every corner is taken with surgical precision. And because the motor is so compact, it frees up valuable space, allowing for better weight distribution, smarter packaging, and more room for Koenigsegg's engineers to push the envelope even further. What makes this evolution even more significant is what it replaced. The original GEM-era prototype used 3 electric motors, one on each rear wheel and one on the crankshaft. That setup was effective, but it added weight and complexity. The dark matter motor achieves better results with less. This isn't evolution, it's reinvention. It's what happens when a team dares to question everything and rebuild it from first principles. Koenigsegg's new dark matter motor is more than a component, it's a statement of intent. Where most car makers chase performance by adding bulk, Koenigsegg pursues efficiency, precision, and ruthless simplicity. One 6-phase axial flux unit replaces the tangle of multiple motors, delivering 800 horsepower and 1,250 Newton-meters in a package small enough for a carry-on bag. The result isn't just lighter hardware, it's engineering that rivals can admire but can't easily copy. Numbers, however, don't tell the whole story. What makes dark matter special is the sensation, instant, seamless torque, no lag, no hesitation, propelling the car forward with quiet violence. It feels like electricity finally liberated, an enabler rather than a limitation. In a market where many EVs blur into the same muted experience, Koenigsegg just proved that electrons can still be exhilarating. Yet dark matter is only the opening move. If Koenigsegg invested this much effort for an 800 horsepower hybrid motor, what's lurking in the prototype lab? Christian von Koenigsegg has offered only a single hint: we've only begun to explore what this technology can really do. Industry insiders whisper that dark matter is merely a bridge to something even more radical. That speculation gained credibility when Koenigsegg announced an optional hot V8 for the GEM-era. Borrowed from the ferocious Jesko, this twin-turbo 5.0-litre V8 replaces the GEM-era's rear storage and any notion that hyperhybrids must be meek. On its own, the engine delivers 1,500 horsepower. Paired with dark matter, total output soars to a staggering 2,300 horsepower and 2,750 Newton-meters of torque. Suddenly, the family tourer has more shove than many semi-trucks, on street-legal tires with cup holders. Koenigsegg didn't merely drop in an old block. The V8 was re-engineered to sit lower, weigh less, and integrate flawlessly with the hybrid system. Every part, from turbos to crankshaft, was created in-house. And the sound? Deep, guttural, unapologetic. Where competitors pump artificial exhaust notes through speakers, Koenigsegg lets the engine roar, rattling parking garage walls and leaving passengers wide-eyed and weak-kneed. That blend of past and future, mechanical thunder amplified by electric thrust, may be the smartest gamble Koenigsegg has ever made. Many EVs impress on paper yet feel sterile once the novelty fades. The GEM-era's hybrid setup reminds drivers why emotion matters: the raw combustion soundtrack, the immediate electric kick, the sense that man and machine are conspiring together. In Koenigsegg's world, a hybrid isn't a compromise, it's a tactical advantage, fusing the best traits of both power sources into one seamless, exhilarating whole. Something about the way Koenigsegg unveiled the hot V8 felt deliberately provisional, as if it were only a stepping stone, not the final destination. Christian